So when it comes to the World Baseball Classic, if you're a fan of Team Japan, you love hearing this news. Shohei Ohtani, who wants to win in everything he does. If he's playing darts, he wants to win in that. If he's playing table tennis, he wants to win at that. Shohei Ohtani has been given no restrictions for the WBC. Perry Manasian was talking to the media over the weekend, and he's like, we're going to let Shohei be Shohei. He talked about that, and of course, the fact that at the end of the year, we're like 10 months away from Shohei Ohtani being a free agent. He commented on so much regarding the superstar. Here's Perry Manasian.
We love Shohei Ohtani, and I believe that all of us, this whole organization, like nothing more than to see him here for a long, long time. We've been able to agree on 2 deals over the last 2 years, which is not easy to do. That's not something that happens too often. So, especially of a player of this caliber. So there's a respect and trust level there that I don't think will change. And I think the relationship is outstanding.
This caliber. We'll talk about the chances of the Angels keeping Shohei Ohtani in a couple minutes, but I want to talk about what level he is literally at right now. We just know he's good. We call him the unicorn, but let's actually get the nuts and bolts of Shohei Ohtani. We've got a great pitcher, a great hitter on this set, so let's break it up.
Okay.
Ron, as a pitcher, are we seeing the best of Shohei Ohtani right now? Can he get any better?
No, not even close. That's how good he is. I mean, he's coming off a year where he was, 15-9, ERA in the 2s, struck out 11.9, almost 12 every 9 innings. As good as you think any pitcher could ever do. There is so much more for him to grow. When he first came up, he had so much pressure on him, and he dove into spring training that first time, and he got hit around a little bit, and you were thinking that, boy, he's going to be a guy that, maybe it was a lot of stuff and not substance. But I think the most important thing is when you see Ohtani's small and short career so far, it's been a learning experience. He's very serious about his craft, and despite early in his career maybe not being at his best, guys who are established in the major leagues hitting home runs, he kept working at it, he kept getting better, and he just kind of maneuvered his usage of what he uses. Now, this is a guy who throws 100 miles an hour. He's got a wipeout slider. This curveball here, he doesn't really even use anymore. He's added a 2-seamer, but I think the key watching him last year is that his usage for his slider went way up, almost 18%. So what does that tell you? That right now, he's in the mix of pitching backwards. When he starts you off, he wants to flip a strike in there with a breaking pitch. He wants to, anytime he's behind in the count, he wants to throw a breaking pitch to get back in the count. He has not even used his fastball at a high rate yet. When he learns to use 100 with that slider, we're talking about Jacob deGrom kind of innings and appearances and starts.
So on a scouting scale from 20 to 80, you would put him at a 80 right now, or like a 75?
I think he is using almost just half of his greatness.
Oh my goodness.
So as he goes along and he gets more intelligent about how to get hitters out, maybe his strikeouts might come down a little bit, but his innings will go up. His pitch usage will get to a place where he'll use his fastball as well as his slider, and he'll go deeper in games.
Okay.
All right.
I got a question for you, Ron.
Okay.
A guy who throws that hard, and we've seen good depth.
Yeah.
Splitty has depth, slider has depth, he can flip the curveball. Kind of like a Justin Verlander to kind of master the top of the zone. Is that important for someone like him?
It is, and I think that, probably early in his career in Japan, it was more about bottom of the zone kind of pitching. And I think, everyone just says, and I saw it happen with Noah Syndergaard, so talented early in his career, and they were like, well, just pitch up in the zone. It's not that easy. Some guys have natural life upstairs, you faced it, and some guys are reluctant to pitch up in the zone. Up in the zone for them is kind of around waist high. That's no
might be
good.
middle. Yeah,
middle.
Right.
So it's got to be around the letters. That is a craft, science and art.
So he's a superstar on the mound, only improving. How would you evaluate the level he's at with a bat in his hand, Mike?
Well, I'm not going to say he's only halfway potential from an offensive standpoint. Ron did a great job breaking down what is in the arsenal for Shohei Ohtani on the mound. I'm actually want to show you something here. What is this called over here? What do we? This is the new
backstop.
The backstop. We're gonna saunter over to the backstop here, and over the last 2 seasons, look, this puts him in the top 95% of hitters. You look at the home runs, second, slugging, fourth, OPS plus at 6. and the total bases at 7. But what I want to show guys is how he started. You know, we've seen all the highlights. We can run the tape. What we see now is a complete type of player. Yeah, you know, he gets pumped up like everyone else. I like it. Major pop, real good balance. He can hit the ball out to right. He can hit it out to left, center. He faces lefties. There's really nothing he can't do, but it all didn't start out that way. Look at the leg kick. This is a very traditional Japanese style teaching where you have the high leg kick, and maybe someone like Shohei, who's so tall, 6'4", 6'5" guy, it creates a lot of movement. Look at that head movement. We circled. If we could stop right there for a second or take it back maybe 2 frames. Right there, that's where his head started. At the end of his swing, this is a good 2 feet. What happens when you're tall and you have a lot of moving parts, if you add the head movement, that ball from that pitcher starts really coming up and down. It could cause some problems. So he made a very good adjustment. We can roll the tape. He kind of went with a wider stance. It seemed like a really early, not even a stride, kind of like a toe tap, because that's not really a stride. Look at the head movement here. I mean, it's so precise. Yeah, we could take it back. Let's take it back again to show from the beginning where his head is. Right here, he starts basically towards the back to the right side of that circle. And when he finishes, go ahead. Stop right there at contact point. I mean, it's basically in the exact same spot. He buys a little bit of time. And Ronnie, you mentioned this just before we started. He hits the ball deeper than most guys with power. I mean, there some of these side angles that we're going to show as the tape goes, it looks like he makes contact almost behind his back leg, which is his left leg, and still takes the ball out to left center. That's something that it just can't be taught. It's natural ability. It's tremendous power. Let's keep it rolling. So I think he's a guy. I mean, we'd love to mention that you tag team him with Mike Trout, and it's so telling what a nice adjustment he's made from basically his first spring training towards the end of his rookie year. Keep it rolling. Of how still that base looks a lot better, the freedom of the swing, the freedom to really open his hips and create that power. And he's just the type of guy where, I mean, he's electric. He runs the bases. He takes care of his body. He's a force on the mound. He's a force at the plate. And I just think I'm waiting for the day the Angels get into the postseason so that we could see Mike Trout. We could see Shohei Ohtani. And, you know, when we saw Perry mentioning that they have a great relationship, that sounds great until that first conversation for an extension starts with the 5.
It could be a $500 million contract.
It really can.
I think we need to dive into this a second because our good friend John Heyman about a week ago was talking to a front office executive and said chances don't look good within the sport. They're discussing this again from the New York Post. Chances the Angels keep two-way star Shohei Ohtani, which is what matters to Orange County baseball now, very likely drop from not too great to even less great. One rival flat out says, quote, the chance of him being an Angel on opening day 2024 is about 5%. That's not good.
That's a flat-out rival saying that. Come on.
But Shohei Ohtani was upset that he didn't win the MVP over Aaron Judge, which is over 60 home runs. He wants to win so desperately, it doesn't look good for him to eventually be an Angel come 2024.
Well, what was interesting when we played the clips there from Perry Minasian, I've known him since he was a kid, and great kid and a great human being. And I think he's doing all the things that you have to do. You know, you don't want to upset the superstar. You know, you want to make sure that you walk the walk to let him know how much you appreciate him. I think it's Shohei always has been in charge of where he's going. From the second he decided to play baseball here in the States, anyone wanted him. You know, the Cubs made a big move to try to get him to the Midwest. No go. He wanted to be on the West Coast. So let's see if that changes over time. The problem, like you said before, is that this is a $500 million contract.
At least. I never thought I'd say that.
Yeah.
$500 million at least.
He'll need one of those trucks.
He would need for all the cash he's going to get. Shohei, he has no rules. He gets to do whatever he wants. If he wants to pitch every 5 days, he can. If he wants to be in the lineup every day, he can.